I'm Laura Trevelyan in Washington, D.C., and this is BBC World News America. The Taliban promised to forgive those who opposed them, but in the Panjshir Valley of Afghanistan, the last area to fall, the BBC obtains pictures showing civilians being killed by the militants. Lawmakers grill the US Secretary of State on America's withdrawal from Afghanistan. Antony Blinken says there was no evidence that staying longer would have made the Afghan government stronger.
If 20 years and hundreds of billions of dollars in support, equipment, and training did not suffice, why would another year, another 5, another 10?
Nigeria is seeing temperatures rise and devastating droughts, and the country's oil industry is making matters even worse.
我希望你喜欢看我的网球，我现在特别开心，但是我们赢了。
Plus, a message in Mandarin. Emma Raducanu conquered the court at the US Open. Now sponsors are knocking at the door of the tennis star with global appeal. Welcome to World News America on PBS and around the globe. Taliban officials promised they wouldn't seek revenge against their opponents in Afghanistan and that all Afghans would be forgiven. But the BBC has found that at least 20 civilians have been killed in the Panjshir Valley. Sounds pretty interesting to me. I'm Laura Trevelyan. Thank you so much for watching BBC World News America. I'm Laura Trevelyan in Washington, and this is BBC World News America. Explaining America's chaotic exit, the top US diplomat defends the withdrawal from Afghanistan as lawmakers ask the hard questions.
Who is responsible? Who made the decisions on this? Was it the President of the United States?
Ultimately, the President makes the decisions. That's correct.
Now the Taliban are in charge. We talk to the Afghan women who don't know if they can return to work and fear for their safety. America's war on terror was also waged in Africa. We look at how US policy may have fanned the flames of extremism in Kenya. Californians are deciding if they want to keep this man, Gavin Newsom, as their governor or fire him. The result of today's recall vote could reverberate far beyond the Golden State.
Come on, babe, why don't we paint the town? And all that jazz I'm gonna...
Plus, curtain up. Broadway is back after the pandemic turned off the lights for 18 months. We'll be live in Manhattan as the show begins. Welcome to World News America on PBS and around the globe. For the second day in a row, lawmakers here in Washington have been asking tough questions about America's messy exit from Afghanistan. I'm Laura Trevelyan. Thank you so much for watching BBC World News America. Have a great night. I'm Laura Trevelyan in Washington, and this is BBC World News America. 1 month since the Taliban took over in Afghanistan, and we have a special report from inside Mazar-e-Sharif on what life is like in the Islamic Emirate.
There are 4 dead bodies laid out here. One of them has a note on top of it saying, "These men were kidnappers. Anyone who wants to do the same, this is going to be their punishment.
Showing their bravery outside of competition, Simone Biles leads the elite gymnasts who blast the US authorities for failing to investigate the abusive team doctor Larry Nassar.
I blame Larry Nassar, and I also blame an entire system that enabled and perpetrated his abuse.
The name's not on the ballots. As Russians get ready to vote in national elections, we meet the opposition figures who've been barred from running. Plus, the newbie astronauts making history, how 4 civilians are hoping to spend 3 days orbiting the Earth. Welcome to World News America on PBS and around the globe. It's been exactly a month since the Taliban swept to power in Afghanistan, declaring the country an Islamic emirate. The US and its allies airlifted more than 120,000 people out of Kabul airport in chaotic scenes. And before we go tonight, folks in Finland have a new way to blow off some steam. Yes, a room in the Finnish capital where you can vent your anger is proving a hit, especially among women. The Helsinki Rage Room was founded by an ex-convict, yes, who wanted people to have a safe space to release their pandemic-era frustrations. The founder says 80% of his customers are actually women between the ages of 25 and 45. Could it be that women with young children felt the strain of COVID the most? I submit. I'm Laura Trevelyan. Thanks for watching BBC World News America. I'm Laura Trevelyan in New York City, and this is BBC World News America. After the US, Britain and Australia announce a new security deal, China responds with fury, saying the move shows a Cold War mentality. We'll have the reaction from our correspondents across the globe. Celebrations in Lebanon as Iran sends fuel to a country in crisis where it's hard to keep the lights on, but the shipments violate US sanctions on Iran selling oil. In Germany, the race to replace Angela Merkel is coming to a close. We report from Ahrweiler, hearing how the summer's intense flooding is now affecting the way people may vote. Plus, as butterflies are under threat from climate change, how scientists have an ingenious plan to save the species. Welcome to World News America on PBS and around the globe. A new defence alliance between America, Australia and Britain has sparked tension with China and with France. The deal gives Australia nuclear-powered submarines which could alter the balance of naval power in the Pacific. I'm Laura Trevelyan. Thanks for watching BBC World News America. Have a great night. I'm Laura Trevelyan in New York City, and this is BBC World News America. The Pentagon admits to mistakenly killing 10 Afghan civilians in a drone strike last month, believing they were members of Islamic State. Machines of war in new hands. Pilots from the old Afghan Air Force have joined the Taliban to fly aircraft that once belonged to America. Here in the US, another twist in the debate over booster shots. A Food and Drug Administration Advisory Committee recommends Pfizer booster shots, but only for those over 65. A most undiplomatic row. First a gala is cancelled. Now France recalls its ambassador to the US. protesting the American deal providing Australia with nuclear-powered submarines. Plus, the deadly collapse of that overpass in Mexico City last May was partly caused by missing bolts, and investigation finds. The families of those killed say warning signs were missed. Welcome to World News America on PBS and around the globe. The US military says it mistakenly killed 10 Afghan civilians in a drone strike in Kabul last month, describing this as a horrible mistake. 7 of the dead were children. This is a major reversal of the Pentagon's position. US officials had said the strike was justified and righteous because it stopped militants from using a car bomb to attack the airport. And remember, you can find much more on all the day's news at our website. Plus, to see what we're working on at any time, do check us out on Twitter. I'd love to hear from you. I'm at Laura Trevelyan. Thanks for watching BBC World News America, and do enjoy the weekend.
Hello. Storms which have brought flooding and damage to parts of Spain